Welcome everyone to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Tara, and we are going to talk about the Twilight Zone. Season 3, Episode 14 is called 5 Characters in Search of an Exit. So full spoilers for the episode, as always. So this episode features 5 characters who... We follow one particular, the Major, who wakes up, doesn't remember his name or who he is. He encounters a clown. They're in a very featureless room. Not much to it. He's trying to figure out where he is, and then eventually realizes there's 3 other characters in there, so there's 5 characters in total. We have the Major, we have a clown, we have a bagpiper, we have a hobo, and we have a ballerina. And that is the 5 characters. And it's, it's your typical wake up in a location, why are we here, what's going on, there's a bit of a mystery to it. I say typical in the sense that we're very used to this premise by now. Obviously when this aired, I assume this was a relatively fresh idea that no one had ever really considered. But that is the gist of the episode. So I will get straight into the question. Tara, how do you feel about 5 characters in search of an exit?
Yeah, I know this episode pretty well, and I still like it. I don't think it's a particularly deep episode, but I still think it's fun.
This feels like one where they thought of the twist and they really patted themselves on the back and said this is a great idea. And then,
well, they definitely did that in the previous episode at the end where they were talking about the twist for this one.
This is true. Yes, they promised the best, the most head-spinning twist they've ever had. And I don't know if Tara believes me, but I did message Tara halfway through the episode with a guess as to what the ending was.
Did you notice how I ignored it?
I did notice how you ignored it, yes.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying that if I'd watched this when it came out, I would have gotten it right. However, I did guess it right, more or less, because it made me think of Toy Story, okay? It made me think of Toy Story. And especially when I started considering why would they all be dressed in these different ways. Now, admittedly, not that I think of hobos and bagpipers as traditional toys, but certainly Majors, ballerinas, and clowns, I can definitely see being kind of old school toys. And it was the way that the Major was the new one, everyone else had already accepted where they were. Like, this feels like a bucket they're in. This just feels like a big bucket. So I started to think, I think they're toys. And especially the thing that cinched it for me is about halfway through the episode you hear this big bell, and I turned out to be wrong about what it was. I thought it was a school bell, and I thought this is a bucket of toys sitting like in the corner of a classroom or something like that. And it wasn't that. It turned out to be like, it's just like a charity bucket, and the woman's like ringing a bell at Christmas time, whatever. But so I did get it, but I think I only got it because I grew up with Toy Story and I had some sort of frame for reference for the concept of what it was doing. Right, that's it.
These are toys going through an existential crisis of nobody wanting them.
Yes, that's what it is. Yes. What's their place in this world, and they don't understand, and dare they ask the meaning of life and what more there is. So we'll get to how the episode breaks down, but yes, that is very much what it is. It's ultimately one of them is able to climb out at the end. The Major's able to climb out, and he falls into the snow. And then the twist is, of course, that there's a bucket of toys. They're all toys, and a little girl picks them up and puts them back in the bucket. And we see the last, the final shots as Rod finishes narration is all the plastic toy faces of all the 5 characters. So, no, it's a fun episode. I think it does spectacularly well with probably the most plain-looking set that anyone could ever have. It is a bit surreal because it is so smooth, because it is this sort of cylindrical.
Yeah, it looks alien. It doesn't look like a room that anyone would be in on Earth.
Yeah. And I think because you've only got 25 minutes, I think there's enough different things you can do. The first half is very much him coming to terms with the idea of where he is. I think the clown threatened to be a bit annoying in the first half as he keeps talking and talking and talking, saying almost nothing.
Everything's a joke. Yeah.
Yep. And of course the bagpiper's bagpiping, and I'll just say, okay, look, the bagpiper's accent was not
not great.
Was not great. Okay,
I don't know. I'm not good with accents.
That's like, I would try and do an impression of it, but I feel like because I'm actually Scottish, I would do like the Scottish they're trying to do as opposed to what it actually sounded like in the episode. Whereas like, you'd have to understand. I can't even do it. It's a very different Scottish to mine.
Every time you do an impression, you're always just shouty.
He's got a very whistly Scottish accent. He's almost whistling as he's speaking.
You don't know any Scotsmen like that?
Not personally, no.
You guys don't all whistle?
I can't whistle. I physically can't whistle. I've never been able to whistle. So...
Just takes practice.
I'm sure it does, but I can't do it. So, I did laugh though. So when they're all like standing on each other's shoulders in the back half, which clearly for the most part is them lying on like a flat surface. Yeah. Obviously,
they're doing the Batman, the early '60s Batman, when they're climbing the wall. Yeah. It's just clearly.
And they're all they're all pretending because that's the thing. The person at the bottom would have so much weight in their shoulders because he'd have like 4 other people on him, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're probably all hollow inside, though.
Okay, once we know they're toys, sure, but, but every time, so there's twice it happens. There's the first because the ballerina climbs to the top, the first time, then the second time, it's the major because he's going to like try and hook the top with the belt and, some of fabric that he's got from the clown. But both times I laugh because they had to cut away. Well, the first time they cut away, the second time you can see the guy playing the bagpiper do it. But both times the kilt is like going up as the person's climbing, and clearly it was like, oh shit, that's like. I mean, I'm sure he's wearing underwear, but like the point being is like, oh, this kind of distracts if his underwear starts to show in the middle of the scene. So the first time it cuts away, and then the second time you can actually see the actor sort of pull it down. Like,
oh yeah, I didn't notice that. That's funny.
So a little immersion breaking moment, but
I like the effect of them all falling though. I thought that was good because clearly they're all standing by lying down on the ground on a flat surface, but when they fell, it all looked good.
Yes,
I thought.
Yes,
you could see everybody like falling from different angles and stuff. It was cool.
Yeah. So I think that's what makes this episode work for the most part, though, is the first half is about the existential crisis. The bell is heard towards the end of the first half, before the ad break, and just kind of with the major saying, "I think I know where we are. I think we're in hell." Because I think I was impressed that the characters do actually say a lot of the things that we normally suggest when we have a premise like this. They start talking about, is this limbo? Is this someone's dream? Are we all in each other's dreams? Is this like have we been kidnapped? Like, they went through a lot of the ideas that we would say still when we're talking about a premise like this.
And pretty much all Twilight Zone episodes that we've had already. We've had the dream one.
True.
But we haven't had the hell one, I don't think. I can't think of one.
No. We've had Satan, but not hell. It's...
No.
Well, no, we did have one in hell. The gambler dude, remember? Remember he slammed the door and the whole wall shook?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was hell.
You're right.
We had hell.
So yeah, they're just going over other premises of the Twilight Zone shows.
Yeah, maybe it's not that impressive. Because I was almost thinking that they're saying all these different ideas, and I'm like, oh, that's impressive. They're considering all these other things that hadn't been done yet. And I'm like, no, they had all been done. They'd all been previous Twilight Zone episodes.
That's fun. I liked it. I also have this talent that I've discovered through watching this, where I can always hear Commodore Decker. Like I did not recognize the actor who plays Commodore Decker from Star Trek, but I know his voice so well from his different variations of shouting in the episode The Doomsday Machine that I can always pick it up. So he's in this. He plays the Major.
I love that episode. I've not rewatched it endlessly my whole life like you have, though, so I didn't notice him or recognize him, but...
Yeah. It only takes a couple lines, and I go, wait a second, I know this voice, and then IMDb confirmed.
Well, good for you. What a skill.
Thanks.
You can whack it on the resume with everything else.
It's been useful for this show, and it's been useful on the Ace when we did the Escape from the Planet of the Apes. That's it.
Yes, and despite the fact that I'd recently seen him or heard him in that, I still didn't recognize him in this, so that's okay. That's okay.
They were, but not anymore. That's a good episode.
It may be my favorite episode of the original Star Trek, to be honest. That episode. So
yeah, it's up there for me.
I'd fallen that choice. But in the second half is when they get proactive, and whenever we have a premise like this, I love the planning and like how do we figure our way out of this. So, and all it really amounts to is we'll stand on each other's shoulders and try and like get, the lightest person, which is obviously the ballerina, to climb out. And then after that, okay, we'll try and like hook a belt on it. And it's a simple little premise for something to do, but it does work and it makes sense that this is the plan.
Just gotta see what's over that wall.
Yeah. And they're all yelling up, what's up there? What's up there? And he just falls out. And I never thought about this till now, but I guess the reason why maybe he does fall out, even though it doesn't look like he changes, is the idea that once he gets outside the bucket, he essentially is a toy again, so he has no grip.
Once humans look at him.
Yeah.
Like toys. They are only alive when you're not looking at them.
Do you mean like Toy Story?
No, like real life toys.
Oh, real life toys. Oh, you are delusional and crazy. Okay. Okay, all right.
That's why I don't collect pop figures anymore. I don't want things to happen.
They try and murder you in your sleep. Okay.
No, I don't collect pop figures. I never have.
People
just give them to me as gifts because they assume I want them.
Yeah, I hate the whole thing where you're a nerd, so people assume you want pop figures. I hate pop figures. I think they look so stupid. I don't get them at all.
Mm-hmm. I have two. I have a Porg that I did purchase. And I have one that was a gift of Jeff Goldblum doing his Jeff Goldblum pose from Jurassic Park. It was a gift.
Yes, that's the shirt open pose when he's lying on the the table. Yes,
we all know the one.
Yes, the one where someone combined that with Alan Grant with his head on the Triceratops into a GIF where it looks like he's got his head on Jeff Goldblum's stomach and he's going up and down. Great stuff. But I mean, I genuinely kind of got the twist in this because there was so much of the ideas, even though it was a mystery, that started to feel like Toy Story, and it felt a little bit like a stab in the dark when I first thought of it. But then by the time I heard the bell, I went, "Oh, that's like a school bell." And it actually, the funny thing is, it wasn't. That was wrong, but it was what convinced me I was right, and I was right. It just turned out that I was right for other reasons. But
yeah, I mean, I already knew the twist of the episode because I've seen it before, but I couldn't remember what the bell was. I couldn't place the bell. So that was a mystery to me still while watching it this time.
Yeah. So they talk about, because maybe if there is a deeper sort of idea to the episode outside of just, it's kind of the Men in Black thing, right? At the end of Men in Black where it's like, oh, we're just a marble in someone else's like, our galaxy's just a marble in some alien's marble collection, and there's a bigger universe beyond that kind of thing. You could argue there's a little bit of that in here. You could also maybe read into what they're saying at the end. The real woman, the girl, and the girl says something like, there's not a lot of toys in there, and she's like, it's early yet though, we'll get them for because they're giving them to charity. It's a charity thing for orphans and whatnot. This is the toys they'll get. And so I guess we do have to ask the question though, which kid had the hobo toy that they turned in? Who thought that was a good idea?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe wasn't there some famous comedian that always played a hobo in movies and stuff? The sad clown. Hobo guy.
But was there toys of him?
With the red nose. I can't think of his name.
Okay, maybe
Chaplin play like a hobo.
Don't get me wrong. An astronaut probably would be because this is before the moon landing, right? So maybe astronaut toys weren't a thing yet. But sure,
it would be and there wouldn't be any like Rambo figures.
How about a policeman and like a firefighter? Like there'd be dolls of those at this time period.
Probably. We don't have a Barbie doll. We have a ballerina,
True.
but no Barbie.
Did Barbie exist in 1963 or whatever?
I want to say yes.
62. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't around at the time. You would know better than I am.
You shut your mouth. I'll look it up. I did have Barbies.
I'll just confirm Tara was not alive in the 60s. Okay, I'll just confirm that for everyone.
1959.
Oh, there you go. So it was a relatively new thing as well then.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, it was because it was the hip new thing. Barbies for girls. Yeah, the bagpiper one's also a little bit weird. At least it makes a little bit more sense to me that it's not a negative thing that the hobo is. So I understand at least the concept. But again, maybe that's just a cultural thing where if I was around in 1962, it would make complete sense to me that there'd be a hobo and a bagpiping doll. It's so weird to me. Like what's the kid doing?
There's no like princess or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, princess.
And it's like a girls' orphanage that they're donating to. So like,
I mean,
I feel bad for the girl that gets the bagpiper.
or even the major. Like, I mean, the little girls are hoping for the army major, you know?
Yeah. Well, there were waves back then. That
Sure.
maybe.
Here, little girl, what did you get for Christmas? You've got a hobo from Santa Claus. A hobo?
Just what I wanted.
Is this what Santa thinks of me? Am I destined to be homeless? Is this what it's saying?
Be better than the doll.
Question should be questioning her own reality, I think, at that point.
Well, she's already an orphan, so
Yeah.
I mean,
So I also like the touch that Rod Serling, like when he does his opening narration, it's from the top of the bucket. He's like sort of standing over the edge. It's a different kind of visual. I really do want to commend how much good use they get out of just this really simple set, because it really could feel really cheap and just kind of boring. Like you said, the room feels alien, so it has this otherworldly quality, and it becomes a bit of a character in and of itself. So
it's like New York City.
I would describe
The setting is a character.
Oh, right. I was gonna say I wouldn't describe New York City as alien. It's kind of the typical. It's the city by which we compare every other city to on the planet. It's kind of the baseline.
There's a rom-com comedy movie. You'll understand, like, if you've seen it, called They Came Together, which was with Amy Poehler and Ant-Man. Paul Rudd.
Yes.
And but the whole movie is just a bunch of cliches. Like, even the title is supposed to be like sex. Like, the title is also a joke. But it's making fun of like all the cliches of rom-coms, and one of them is like the character or the city. I love New York. It's almost like New York is a character of its own.
Haven't I heard of this? This sounds vaguely amusing, but
It is. I would describe it also as vaguely amusing. Like,
okay.
Not all the comedy works.
All right, okay, that's disappointing because at least there's a premise in there that I kind of like the sound of, but
yeah, and you'll recognize all the actors, so maybe you'll enjoy it still. I mean, I would say it's worth a watch, but it's not like a hidden gem or anything like that.
Okay. Well, notably, there was no scenes in this episode of one of the characters going, "This bucket is almost a character in and of itself." Oh, to be honest, some of the shit the clown was saying, he might have got away with it. if he just threw that in mid-sentence, he might have gotten away with it. But yeah, so yeah, that was a good episode. It's a good fun episode with a strong single idea, with good, I'd say, direction and dynamics. The only real caveat I would say against it is there's maybe a little padding in the first half, but the clown talking nonsense to maybe build a bit of time. But that's maybe my only complaint, I'd say.
As someone who already knew what the twist was going in, like, I agree. Like, it just, maybe if I didn't know what the twist was, then I would be dissecting everything he's saying. But I did know, so I was just kind of waiting for something else to happen.
Yeah. So Rod did come out at the end of the episode though and told us about next week's story. It's called The Quality of Mercy. I didn't really catch much of the premise other than it's set at the end of World War II, but he did mention Dean Stockwell, who for once, well, not for one, I mean, obviously I recognise Burgess Meredith and a couple other actors, but a lot of the actors that he brings up, I don't know, and I'm like, he talks about them as if they're a big deal, and I'm like, yeah, sure, Rod, I'll take your word for it, because it's 1960 and I don't really know. But I do know Dean Stockwell quite well. I'm a fan of his work on the newer Battlestar Galactica. He's in one of my favourite movies, Paris, Texas, as well as a bunch of stuff. I think he was in the original Battlestar Galactica as well, now I think about it. But he's in a bunch of stuff.
I'm looking him up now.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know his face.
I know the face.
Yeah. So obviously this will be a much younger Dean Stockwell in this.
Yeah, he's handsome.
But he will be in the story. This is the description on IMDb. Hotshot new Lieutenant Cattell tries to make his mark on the last day of World War II in the Pacific and gets a unique perspective on his actions.
Yeah, Rod was saying it in front of a jungle, so...
Yes. Oh, you got this one. It's 50-50 at this point if you get the...
I know, yeah. Yeah, we got We got it this time.
The tease at the end.
Dean Stockwell's in Enterprise. Cool.
Okay.
And Dune. Not the one coming out this year, but.
Well, no, he passed away, so that'd be quite difficult. That'd be impressive if somehow he was in the new Dune.
Well, I mean, for people who don't know.
Yeah. Yes, and don't worry, we'll be doing the old Dune before the new Dune comes. Don't you worry.
That's right. On the 8th.
That's good. We've got a lot of things to do this year because the new film's coming out. Because we got Matrix coming out.
Everything got pushed.
We got Godzilla vs Kong coming out. So we got a lot of franchises we have to kind of like start squeezing in soon.
Yeah.
Which good. It makes the schedule easy to fill, if nothing else. So.
Yeah, it means we don't have to watch crappy Netflix movies.
I don't think this next one we're going to do. It looks alright to me. It looks like fun. It looks like a fun movie to me. No, maybe it'll be shit. I don't know, but I have some optimism.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, that is Twilight Zone. We'll see you next time for A Quality of Mercy. So unique perspective on his actions. I don't really know what that's going to pertain to. I do see in the photo on IMDb there's a couple of I assume Japanese soldiers. Although that may be incorrect by the time we get to the episode next week, but I assume maybe a conflict with a soldier from the opposite side is maybe going to be the premise and the main kind of thrust of the episode, would be my guess. But
cool,
we'll see. All right, because it says perspective, so I assume he's going to see something from their perspective. I assume that's going to be. I'm sure it'll be a Twilight Zone way of doing it, but I suspect that's the point of the episode. Right. So there we go. So let us know what you thought of 5 characters in search of an exit in the comments. Like and subscribe, liking and subscribing and all that stuff on YouTube is super important. It is the weird tangled web that YouTube judges success on and shares us out, so please do hit those buttons. You can support us financially, can't you, Tara?
Yep, that's right. If you enjoy our reviews, please check out our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/MildfuzzTV. And if you donate as low as $1 per month, you'll get access to bonus episodes for other shows we do. And if you donate $5 per month, you will get access to these Twilight Zone reviews 1 week early. So maybe worth your time. Thank you. Sorry, I was coughing earlier, so my voice is a little messed up.
It sounds fine, Tara. It's fine.
Yeah,
I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it. So, thank you very much once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV in the Twilight Zone.